You know that feeling that you get once you're done fighting something, where you just stop and you just realize that, hey, I'm making this so much more worse by fighting it. That's right. I'm here to talk to you about accepting your stutter and not fighting it, right? I'm also going to be talking to you about why is it so difficult for you to accept your stutter and what it means to accept your stutter. So, have you accepted that the world is round? I know, random question, right? I bet you have. I bet you have accepted that the world is round. And why is that? It's because there's proof and you don't question it, you don't think about it, you don't really give any energy to it because you have accepted it. You can kind of get how that feels when you accepted it. There's no attention, there's no emotions given to it. Is there something that you resist, right? How does that feel when you resist something? I know for me, I resist repetitive tasks. It's boring. I think it's a waste of time. I start feeling tense. Sometimes I start getting frustrated and stressed out about doing repetitive tasks. This is similar to when you don't accept your stutter, but probably worse because it physically comes out of you, right? When you don't accept your stutter, you start building up tension. That tension transfers into frustration, anger, and all these other emotions related to stuttering, and it feeds into stuttering as well. I'm going to be real with you. I've been resisting my stutter for most of my life. I've not been accepting it. I've been treating it as a different thing to who I am. I've been like keeping it separate. I'm like, that's not who I am. I don't stutter. And I've also been working so much more harder at saying the perfect words, saying the perfect sentence, trying to be fluent. And I realized that the more I tried, the worse it got, the worse the stutter got, the worse the block got. I'm going to tell you a story, right, where a little shift happened to me and I made a little bit of a realization, but I didn't know it at the time. I was out with my friends and we were at a bar and the evening was great. It was a great evening. And I was pretty happy, pretty relaxed, and I'm here with some of my lifelong friends. And it was my turn to get everyone drinks. So everyone gave me their order and we all went to the bar together because that's what friends do. Actually, we all went to the bar together because it was a big order and we kind of knew that I wasn't able to carry all the drinks as well. But I think at the same time, my friends wanted to go for a walk and stretch their legs. So we went to the bar and the bartender comes up to me and he's like, hey mate, what would you like to have today? And I started stuttering, I started blocking, and all my emotions related to stuttering started coming back up again. And I was so in my head. I was in a glass box and I didn't know how to get out. Somehow I pushed the words out and I ordered everyone's drinks. And I actually got one of the drinks wrong because I just said anything that I could just to speed up that whole situation. And it was very embarrassing for me. And I felt guilty as well at that time because, I had like a whole bunch of people at the back of me waiting for me to complete my order. And it took longer than I wanted to. And also I felt guilty because the bartender was waiting for me to finish what I had to say. So it wasn't a nice experience for me. Now, something happened in that moment, right? And because it was such a bad experience for me, internally, I said to myself, I give up. I'm not fighting this thing anymore. I'm not fighting this stutter anymore. I'm not going to try to be someone who I'm not, right? And I told myself, I'm going to live with this stutter. I'm going to live with it. And after I got the drinks, I spent probably the next 10 minutes having this internal conversation where I'm like, I'm going to live with it. This is who I am. I'm going to live with it. And I didn't realize it set a chain reaction, and it set me on a different path than if I didn't have that conversation today. And this is something what I want to share with you today. Now, that night, it wasn't a big aha moment. It wasn't a big change, right? But it was a very small change. But that small change made a big shift in my overall life and how well I speak. Let's get right into it. There are 4 reasons why accepting your stutter is difficult for you. The first reason is we live in a world where speaking fast, speaking fluently is seen as the norm. And when you don't fit that mold, of how other people are talking, we feel like we have fallen short. We feel like there's something wrong with us. So then we react. Then we want to try to speak like other people so we can feel like we belong. So this falls under social conditioning. So that's the first reason why it's difficult to accept your stutter. The second reason why it's difficult is we live in a time where there's hustle culture. And hustle culture has taught us for you to grow and change, you have to push against your resistance. You have to push against your tiredness. You have to push against your emotions for you to grow and change. Think about going to the gym after work. You're feeling tired. You probably don't feel like going to the gym, but you still have to push against that resistance to get yourself to go to the gym, to grow, to change, to get more healthy. Stuttering, it's one of those few things in your life where for you to accept it, you can't push against it. You cannot push against trying to overcome your stutter. It actually works the other way. You have to accept it. Yeah, you have to allow it. You have to reduce the tension. That's the second reason why it's difficult for you to accept. The third reason is the internal conversations you have. Now, for me, whenever I used to stutter many years ago, and sometimes I still do a little bit now, but many years ago when my stutter was very bad, the internal conversation I used to have was, hey, I don't stutter. That's not who I am. That's got nothing to do with me. And I didn't own the stutter. I didn't make it a part of my identity. There was a lot of resistance towards it. And because of that, the resistance created tension, which fed into the frustration, the anger, and the emotions related to stuttering. Right, so third reason, internal self-talk makes it harder for you to accept your stutter. The fourth reason is tension. It's like quicksand, right? The more you push against tension, the more you resist it, the more it pulls you in. And the more you fight against it, the deeper you get into the actual fight with the tension, with the resistance. And then it just becomes a feedback loop, right? That just feeds into each other. You feel tension, you resist, you feel the emotions of frustration, anger, guilt that feeds into your stutter, and your stutter gets worse, then you feel more tense, then you resist more, then it just becomes a cycle. And my job is to help you break that, right? Let's talk about the main question. Why do you have to accept your stutter? As someone who's overcome my stutter and who's in a place that's much more fluent than, say, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, accepting my stutter played a big part of it, right? Accepting your stutter doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're getting control back. It also means you're freeing up mental bandwidth, mental space in your mind to focus on the things that you want to focus on, like the conversation and how great the conversation is, or focusing on what the actual message that you want to share with the other person. Accepting your stutter also enables you to start breaking up that loop, breaking up that pattern that I was talking to you about earlier, which is you feel tension, you feel frustration, you feel guilt, and that feeds into the stutter and the stutter feeds into the tension and the emotion feeds into the stutter, and then you're just stuck. Then you're stuck. And I don't want you to be stuck. I want you to be free. I want you to be spontaneous. However, it starts with accepting your stutter. Let's talk about the final thing. How do you accept your stutter in a healthy and positive way? So there's two solutions I'm going to give you to help you accepting your stutter. The first solution is change your narrative, right? Whenever you stutter, there's a very, very good chance that you have a negative self-talk happening inside your mind. You might be saying, oh man, I stuttered again. It's happening quickly. Oh, they're looking at me in a weird way. Oh, quickly say what you have to say. Something negative, right? And whenever that negative talk appears straight after your stutter, get a piece of paper out and a pen and write down that negative self-talk. And straight after that negative self-talk, write down the positive neutral version of that self-talk that you just had, which was negative. So for example, if you had a negative self-talk, oh, I stuttered and I'm going to be seen as not capable or incompetent, then the positive self-talk or the neutral self-talk could be something along the lines of, I stutter and I have something meaningful and important to share with this person. That's the first solution. And the more you do this, the more you do this exercise, you start rewriting how you see yourself. You start changing those patterns. You start changing those loops. You start breaking up those old patterns and forming these new healthy patterns. And then you start moving into a place of acceptance. The second solution is be compassionate with yourself. Give yourself grace, give yourself space. Treat yourself with so much kindness, respect, and love, right? It's really, really important, because imagine a struggling friend came up to you and was telling you about his problems and how tough life is. Would you be kind and positive and compassionate towards him, or would you beat him up? Right? Of course, you'll be compassionate and positive towards him. So that's how you want to talk to yourself, and also give yourself grace and space as well. So those are two solutions. And the more you do this, the more you start forming new patterns. And this takes time, but you will get there. I believe you will. Here's the thing. Accepting your stutter doesn't mean you have to like your stutter. It doesn't mean you are giving up. It doesn't mean if you could change your stutter, you would change your stutter. What it means is you don't let the stutter control your life anymore. So the next time you feel tension building up, and you can feel that resistance urging, and you can feel that urge to try a little bit more harder, what you're going to do is just take a pause, take a break, and just let yourself know, stutter or no stutter, doesn't define who you are. It's only a small part of you. Right? And there's so much more to your life than your stutter. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this video resonated with you in regards to accepting your stutter, then let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if there's any questions you have, also let me know in the comments below. And I will see you in the next video.